China is still a growing world superpower and has had a seismic cultural revolution within our lifetimes.
In 2016, we found an irresistible flight deal to Beijing, so we grabbed tickets without giving it a second thought.
Little did we know it would end up being the most significant trip of our lives.
The latest weather around Beijing is fine. Temperature is 3 degrees Celsius, about 37 degrees Fahrenheit.
As you can see, this place is well smoggy. Air traffic control is barely visible over there.
Arriving in Beijing can be overwhelming. The visa application process alone was quite involved. We are in Beijing on our way to our hotel in Pudong. And I'm really excited because it's been an extremely long morning.
China went from farming to high tech in a single generation.
Change happened slowly for millennia, and then it happened all at once.
Up to this point, all of our trips as a couple had been to easily navigated first world countries.
This was our first foray together into another world.
A world with all the thirst for the opportunities of capitalism, mixed with the control of a totalitarian communist government. All right, we're almost at our Hutong, which is our tiny little alley. But unlike an alley in North America where there's pretty much just nothing there, there's like entire lives that go on in these hutongs. There's our hotel with the 2 red balls. Lanterns. They're lanterns.
Did you say red balls?
Red balls.
And we have arrived, and what's really neat is I don't know if it's going to be locked right now. We actually have to knock on the door to open it. I took care of booking our activities as well as our accommodations at the Sandalwood Hotel.
This amazing boutique hotel is in the converted home of an administrator from the Qing dynasty. It is hundreds of years old, so it is its own unique museum complete with artifacts.
The staff were incredibly friendly and attentive and ran regularly scheduled cultural activities in their spacious courtyard, like calligraphy and Tai Chi, which was much more challenging than we had initially expected.
Well, here's this crazy beautiful hotel. And this is our room. Thank you, my dear. We stayed in one of their top-of-the-line courtyard suites, which was worth every yuan.
The Sandalwood is an incredible hotel. This is next level. And we highly recommend staying there if you visit Beijing.
Sandalwood, phenomenal. Great staff, great facilities, incredible location, and the price is right.
Setting out to explore Beijing can feel a little intimidating.
We weren't sure what to expect, but the hotel had thankfully equipped us with taxi return cards that explained how to get back to our well-hidden hutong. We're in Tiananmen Square, the Tiananmen Square, and it's a beautiful sunshiny day. It's such a big square that it doesn't even show up on the camera here. Too much fisheye. Tiananmen Square is so enormous, it's hard to put it into perspective.
Our first introduction to the central city square was when we saw the student uprising and military crackdown of 1989. The iconic image of a man standing firm in the face of an endless row of tanks on live TV is something we'll never forget, despite being just kids at the time.
Chairman Mao's mausoleum.
Today, however, there's no mention made about those events.
While there aren't any commemorative markers or plaques about the massacre in Tiananmen Square, the security apparatus is always there keeping an eye on everything.
As obvious foreigners, we were cleared through security checkpoints ahead of long lines of locals waiting to pass through metal detectors in order to see the same sights we were.
So we're not sure what it says, so we hold this up. It changes the words real time. You see words starting to flicker in there as it tries to figure it out. Damn it, Google's trying.
No, it's upside down. Pieces of Emperor Cavity semi-designed Watt table.
Fucking right on.
All
I've always
right.
wanted one of those.
Me
Pretty
too.
When we were unable to find the entrance into the Forbidden City, we decided to go shopping instead.
There are so many little tourist shops selling cheap merchandise, and we had a bunch of friends and family that needed souvenirs.
That would be great.
Even without any attempt to haggle, we still only paid a few bucks for everything we bought.
She likes these little handbags. That's cute. She'll like that.
We saw these tiny enclosed motorbikes ripping around everywhere and thought, you'd have to be nuts to want to take one of those.
So, of course, we did.
The only rule is there are no rules.
And this is my last video. Mom, Dad, I love you.
Matt, I love you.
Our hutong was so well hidden that even with the taxi cards our hotel had given us, our driver still needed to call in for some help. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
We eventually got home safely and bid our driver farewell and a good evening of safe driving.
And off he rode into the night. Alright, so not a bad haul today. I think we all in all spent like $70. We picked up all this crazy shit, including, I mean, look at this. We got this one. We got this for Tamara's nephews. Oscar. Oscar's gonna look like the mafia boss in this thing. This is, I want one now. So, yeah, not a bad day of shopping in Beijing buying cheap shit.
Our tour guides arrived at the break of dawn so we could hit the road and get an early start on our biggest day in China.
Oh, if it is in a very clear day, you see another layer behind that mountain. Yeah.
This is John. Jenny. This is Jenny.
Jenny was our guide and our translator, while Johnny was our driver and security detail as he was a Beijing cop.
I found them online through Viator, and they would end up being a highlight for our entire trip to China.
We are gonna climb to the highest part is around 100,000, not the 100, it's 1,000 meters above sea level.
Oh, great.
Okay,
Yeah.
1 kilometer up.
Yeah, 1 kilometer up, yeah.
Jianghu is one of the more rugged sections of the Great Wall, and it's about a 2-hour drive from where we were staying in central Beijing.
The air pollution creates a surreal and eerily beautiful effect, giving the sun a supernatural red glow.
We were lucky to have a cool and clear day for our ascent up the mountain to an unrestored part of the Great Wall that has been slowly reclaimed by nature over the last 500 years.
It's rated as a difficult climb, and it certainly felt that way.
The further we drove into the mountains, the smaller the villages got. It was like driving back in time, losing centuries with every mile we drove.
We are taking a little break, a little rest stop in this tiny village, the base of the mountains. Hey buddy, 你好. 你好, 谢谢. And up in these mountains over that way, we're going to be climbing the unrestored part of the Great Wall of China. It's about 550 years old and it hasn't been fixed up since. There's been no renovations. It's a nice cold day, it's about 5 degrees, if that.
We're climbing the difficult part.
Jenny!
With that, we set off on what would be the most significant walk of our lives, in every sense of the word.
It seems like we're laying first tracks on this trail today. First group going up. Oh my God, that was gonna be spectacular. No hurry, just enjoy it. The views were stunning, but what Tamara didn't know was that I had a surprise I'd brought with me all the way from Canada. I love this woman so much. How you feeling?
I feel wonderful. How do you feel?
So good. We're getting really high up here.
We climbed for over an hour until we could see the village where we had started below.
We're getting towards the final push.
The final push was intense. The air was thin and the views took our breath away, but the adrenaline kept us putting one foot in front of the other until our legs and lungs were feeling the burn.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
It gets better. I was driven to get to the summit before Tamara so I could lay down the groundwork to record the grandest gesture of my entire life. I scrambled through the ancient lookout tower to find the best place to set up. Tamara had already adjusted her camera so that Johnny could take our picture at the summit, while I ran around secretly setting up hidden cameras. Nobody had any idea what I was up to.
Yes.
So I want this to be the toughest mountain that we will ever climb together, and I want the next thing that we plan to be our wedding. So Tamara.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
What?
Will you marry me?
Oh.
What?
Yes.
Lunatic.
Tamara, you are the happiest woman in the world. Oh my God.
That was the happiest moment of our lives.
My fiance.
But there was still a very long road ahead of us.
So next we're heading up this way.
Tamara, you are the happiest woman in the world. Oh my God.
So next we're heading up this way.
This part is about 550 years old. It's incredible. It's kind of really hard to walk through and scary, but we did it, and that happened.
The Jiangkou section of the Great Wall is the road less traveled. By far. So it's a little rugged here. What happens when you don't renovate for 550 years? And it's a little scary over the edge. You can see the trail going up that way. Over. But we're just gonna take a shortcut down this way because we're not crazy.
Jenny had returned to the car to drive it to meet us at the Mutanyu section, leaving us with Johnny, who couldn't speak English, but we still found ways to understand each other.
Back to the wall through the shortcut. And sure enough, we're back. We've made it here. This is the bright red tree of safety and welcome.
We naively thought it was going to be easier from this point on, but we were wrong. So very wrong.
And you can see in the haze, the wall just keeps on going. And going. I don't know if you can even make that out over there. Okay. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada.
We are now entering Matanyu, part of the wall.
Matanyu.
This is going to be the easier part.
Well, he looks busier, so.
The challenging part is done.
The challenging part was not done. Not even a little bit. Careful, watch your step. It's a fine line between YouTube and Live Leak.
The entire hike was almost 20 kilometers, which would have been a challenge even if the course was flat. But the Great Wall goes up and down some pretty steep mountains.
Back in the 1300s, watchtower guards could start signal fires to get the attention of adjacent towers and pass messages up and down the length of the wall quickly.
It's hard to imagine what went into building this ancient wonder of the world.
I don't know if we'll be able to walk at all tomorrow.
All that was left was for us to get down from the wall. And at Matanyu, there's one really fun way to do it.
I'll go ahead of you. I'll blast everyone out of the way. Ready? Like dudes all over the place watching you go down, which is good for safety. Help. You see the village down there? Got a long way.
You could take the chairlift down.
Or you can ride down on a metal death sled with nothing but a simple handbrake to control your descent.
Yeehaw!
That was amazing.
That was so much fun!
So great. I loved it. I wish I could do that again without going all the way to the top.
After working up the biggest appetite ever, we met up with Jenny, who had driven the car for 2 hours to pick us up for a bite at a local restaurant.
So after a long day, we're now eating in a traditional Chinese restaurant.
Potatoes, pork? Yeah, I could go for that.
And this fish is
from the local reservoir of Huairou district. A lot of visitors from Beijing and abroad are coming here to taste this fish.
dim sum. Amazing.
Whatever we had was amazing. There's carrots and other things.
The drive home was like a dream. We were coming down off of an adrenaline rush and played each other our favorite songs of the day.
Despite our language barrier, Johnny told us he wanted to play us a song that reminded him of us. We ended up having our first dance at our wedding to that song the very next year.
Best day ever.
It was.
That night, we enjoyed a long happy hour at the Sandalwood as we relived our engagement hike through our pictures and videos.
Having some drinks and reviewing the footage. With Tamara.
Having a Mai Tai.
Cheers.
We're gonna go pick up our bags and head to the airport. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm kind of happy to be going home. I miss the pickle moo.
We actually were excited to head home. The drive to the airport was veiled under the smog we'd come to recognize as part of the Beijing landscape.
But we were grateful we were given one beautiful day when it mattered most.
We were warmly greeted wherever we went.
For every motorbike that nearly ran us over, there was another one ready to give us a lift home.
China might be a little dusty right now, but that's only because it's a 5,000-year-old culture that it's only starting to climb onto the world stage.
In the time since we visited the Great Wall, the Jianghu section has started to undergo major renovations for the first time in centuries.
Some visitors have died while making the same climb we did, so we feel lucky that we got to see it in all of its rugged, unrestored glory without an incident.
We met some wonderful people on our trip, which left us feeling optimistic about China as a budding global superpower.
But we will have to wait and see how the future unfolds. 再见, Beijing.
In Chinese, John, you can teach her how to speak in. 你能说教汉语？
What?
你说一。
What?
She knows one.
What? Is E.
R.
Two.
R.
Sun is three.
San.
Very good.
Yeah.
1、2、3。
四。
1、2、3、4。
对。
四 is
So not some say, some say.
1、2、3、4。
五 is five.
1、2、3、4、5。
五
1、2、3、4、5。
六
6。
6。
is six.
Okay.
6 is 6。
七 is seven. 七
7。
yeah.
7。
Eight is八
But
八 is eight. 九 is nine.
9。
9。
Yeah. 10 is 十 十 is 10. Say
It's very similar 4 and 10 because 4 is 4. 10 is 10.
是。
sure.
10
Sure.
10。
Yeah,
10
good.
it means 14. 40 is 40.
Ah, okay. I can see the root.
40
Neat.
14.
I don't remember all of it.
you get to practice
又
that.
出门了。14
40是14是14，你把40说14。
Is that like a tongue twister?
Yeah, tongue twister.
Yeah. What does it mean?
Is 10 is 10, 4 is 4. If you speak 14 to 40, you are very stupid, something like that.